Alright, this is vlog number 3. This one's going to be pretty short. We did vlog number 1 where we talked about the car and how I came upon purchasing it and a brief overview of the car. Vlog 2 was kind of dedicated to a walk around of the car, talking about a lot of the different things that need to be fixed, that I'm going to attempt to fix and take care of. And this vlog is going to be a shorter one. We're finally starting to do things to the car. This one's very small. We're adding an UltraGauge to the car today, and the UltraGauge will be able to tell us the most important thing that we're interested in is the temperature of the engine. So I'm really curious to see before I even um, touch. I'm eventually going to replace the thermostat with a 180-degree diesel model thermostat, and I'm also going to flush and refill and blurp the cooling system. But before I do those things, it'll be interesting to see what temperatures the car is currently running at without those items completed. So before I even get to the UltraGauge, I have this cool, nifty 3D printed part that I got from Golden Rovers um, online, and this nifty part will attach to the pillar here, and that way I'll be able to, can't see too well behind the steering wheel, but I'll be able to have the UltraGauge visible immediately next to the steering wheel while I'm driving. And then I have the UltraGauge right here. So I'm going to get these two things installed. I haven't run the car for a couple days now, so I'm going to get these things installed. Then I'm going to cold start and run the car for 5 minutes, and we're going to see what temperature we're running at. Alright, so we've got the UltraGauge set up. Just connected it to the OBD port for the Land Rover, which is down here, kind of near my right leg by the gas pedal under the steering column. Uh, this bracket from Golden Rovers works awesome. I love that I can have it right here at my head level while I'm driving. Um, and yeah, so while I was getting this set up, started the car, cold start, ran it for 5 minutes. Temperature went up to 145. Since then, it's been about another 5 minutes or so, and when I read the temperature, it was at 185. And now it's probably been another couple minutes, so I think at this point, engine's been running. I haven't been driving at all. Engine's been running for about 12 or so minutes, and the current temperature reading is 194 degrees. To my understanding, this is pretty hot. I'm gonna go research right now exactly, um, what I should be expecting. But 194 degrees is a bit hotter than I thought she was gonna run at. So, and I haven't even driven it. So, um, what I'm really curious about, I've driven her to work a few times. I'm gonna do it tomorrow morning. Yeah, let the car sit overnight, cold start in the morning, drive it to work, and I'm really curious to see when I get to work what the temperature reads at. So let's see tomorrow morning. One other thing I forgot to mention, uh, the scanner also scanned a couple codes, two or three of them. So I took pictures of those codes, plug it into the computer, and do some research to see what those error codes might be. Hopefully, it tells us why the service engine soon light is on the dash right now. Last thing to say before tomorrow morning, I was just about to shut off the car. Again, by this point, car's probably been running for about 13, maybe 14 minutes. Have not driven it at all, and we're at 201. Alright, so now to debrief after a day of having the UltraGauge installed and reading the engine temperature. I drove Donna twice today. I drove her to work and back. When I drove into work this morning, it was early in the morning. Outside air temperature was probably about 45 degrees, maybe 50, but definitely feeling cooler. outside. Drove her on the highway maybe about 10 to 15 minutes, around 60 to 65 miles per hour, and then drove for another maybe 5 minutes off the highway at around, in between idle and getting up to like 40 miles an hour. And then on the way back home, pretty much about the same in reverse, except that on the highway there was a bit of traffic. So there were times of idling, there were times of up to highway acceleration and then going down to idling in bumper to bumper traffic and then speeding up again. The drive home probably took about 30 minutes or maybe 35. Uh, in short, what was observed was the highest temperature actually going both ways. The highest temperature read the same. It was 217 degrees. Um, I figured it was kind of interesting because on the way there, given it was earlier in the morning and the outside air was cooler, on the way home it was maybe about 65. On the way there it was maybe about 45 or 50. I thought that might make a difference, but um, it appears, not. I thought the traffic too, sitting in traffic and idling on the way back in the slightly warmer temperature, might make a difference. But no, 217 was the hottest I read each time. It's going to be May 1st tomorrow. So I will be super curious to see what happens in some. Well, we won't even get there because I'm going to replace the thermostat and flush and refill the coolant system before summer. Um, but given that the UltraGauge was reading an engine temperature of 217 degrees in pretty mild weather, um, you know, lends even more credence to the belief that in summertime it could maybe get up to around 225, which at that point, from what I understand, and anybody coming across this video would have to check me on this because I'm by no means an expert, but it seems that 225 is kind of around the temperature that you really kind of want to start keeping a very close eye on the engine and kind of worrying. And then around 230, 235, you probably want to pull over and stop driving and let things cool down. And then if you start getting up to 240, if you haven't already, 240, you might be blowing the head gasket or boiling over the coolant system or just some form of catastrophic failure. So we were at 217 today in mild weather. So I think even more reason to, replace the thermostat with the 180-degree diesel thermostat that's in the mail right now. Hope to get it this weekend. We'll see. And then also going to flush and refill the coolant system. Something else I wanted to talk about was the UltraGauge read a few error codes, which may or may not be the reason why the check engine soon light is on the dash. Um, there were three error codes that the UltraGauge read: P1590, P1451, and P1884. I've done some light research on these codes. Again, I'm by no means an expert. From what I understand, P1590, that is an ABS fault related to the rough road signal. So it sounds like at some point the ABS system, or what likely happened is the ABS system tried to send a rough road signal, which helps the ECM understand how to govern engine torque on a rough road. So a rough road signal was sent to the ECM. Sounds like the signal was failed or not received, so that fault was thrown. P1451 I have written down as an evaporative emission control system vent control circuit alarm or code. Basically, the ECM is detecting a fault in the evap canister vent valve circuit. I truly have no clue what that means, but from what I understand, it's kind of more of an emissions related. I might be putting out uh, more rough emissions than you already probably are with a Land Rover. Um, so, yeah, sounds like that might be emissions control related. And then lastly, P1884, transmission interface fault, torque converter clutch slip detected, CAN message fault, CAN. From what I've written down, this error usually indicates transmission control module did not properly communicate with the ECM. Again, I basically don't know what that means, so we'll look a little more into it. Kind of what I'm going to do next is I'm going to clear the codes, and because I have no idea how old these codes are, so I'm going to clear the codes, drive the car for a bit and see which ones come back, and depending on which ones actually come back, we can see which ones need addressing. Thankfully, it sounds like none of these have significant impacts on the safety or drivability of the car. But of course, if something wrong going on, I'd like to kind of dive into it and fix it more, even more so, just for the education of it, and learning about the car. So that pretty much concludes this vlog related to the UltraGauge and reading engine temperatures and error codes for the first time. Planning for either the next vlog to be centered around how I'm gonna start handling the rust that's in the undercarriage of the car, which will be an extensive ongoing project that I'll be chipping away at, pun intended, over the next few months. Or the next vlog might be dedicated to the thermostat replacement, or the next vlog might be related to taking a look at the motor and the linkage system for the driver window, which completely failed today. I was able to get the window to about, there's about 3/4 of an inch gap at the top, and I can't get it to go any further. Been pushing the button and hearing the motor whirring, but nothing moving. So I wonder if the issue is with the linkage more so than the motor. But I'd like to get that fixed, both just from a security perspective. Don't want anybody reaching in and pulling the lock on the car. So one is security, and two is just weatherproofing. Living in Seattle, and don't want the driver's seat to get rained out. There's enough leaks in the car already, even without sunroofs. So gonna keep it in a covered garage for now until that can get fixed, and yeah, we'll go from there.